10th race in my second career season, and to gain valuable resource points, I've just completed the same practice programs within F1 2020 for the 32nd time. Throw in the previous iterations of the game, all of which I've played, and the number of times I've driven the track acclimatization test is easily in the hundreds. Considering that some of these same challenges have been around since F1 2016, I no longer need to be acclimatized to most of the circuits, thanks. But here we go, all the same and familiar trudge, all optional of course, and if you are new to the series, they all feel new and exciting. Still, this part of the game has been in need of a refresh for quite some time, and while the new for 2020 My Team reinvigorated the single player experience, the practice sessions remained all but identical. This is not the case in F1 2021. Rejoice. Which is why we thought it would be a good idea to dive into the practice sessions and the R&D screens to see just how things have evolved for the new season. It should be noted that this is based upon the limited time access, work in progress, not complete preview build of F1 2021, so things might change when the game is actually released. But before we kick things off, please do subscribe to the Traxion channel, ring the bell to get notifications. Okay, let's get racing. In past F1 games, across the 3 practice sessions of a typical race weekend within My Team or driver career, there will be 6 practice challenges to work through: track acclimatization, tyre management, fuel management, ERS management, qualifying pace, and race strategy. Plus, there has been a 7th team objectives program, which would be something along the lines of setting a time within a practice session with 2 different car setups. Completing these dishes out resource points, which in turn can be spent on development of car parts, improving the performance of your steed. In F1 2021, however, when you load into FP1, you are greeted with a newly designed screen in keeping with the game's entirely revised menu aesthetic. You now only have the choice of 3 challenges to select from. There are still more than 3 types, but at each race event you are allocated a random selection to work through. These are, in essence, nothing new, they're simply a lick of paint on the menu. Except they are augmented by additional development boosts. These boosts are 3 optional subquests, paying out in the form of development part discounts. For example, the bog standard race strategy challenge, which involves setting at least 3 but up to 5 consistent lap times, pays out 100 resource points for doing okay, and an additional 100 for exceeding the base level target times. So far, so vanilla. But I received 3 boosts which look to be randomly assigned from a long list. They were related to engine power, beat an average speed, rear downforce, complete a lap while conserving fuel, and weight reduction, achieve competitive corner speeds. As you hit the track, the main target is referenced at the top of the HUD, but should you complete any of these boosts, a new graphic will appear on the left of your screen. Successfully complete the main ordinary objective plus 3 boosts and you will net both resource points and a discount on upcoming car parts. This adds an extra dimension to the otherwise repetitive tasks, creating a second level of incentives for completing practice. It should be noted, however, that stacking programs like in MotoGP 21 is not available, which is frustrating with the development boosts, as multiple strands could often be easily accomplished in 1 or 2 laps. A quick practice is another new option aimed at reducing the terminal boredom that will hit you usually 3/4 of the way through a full season. It allows you to skip the actual driving in practice, but still earn development points and boosters. Featuring a new mini-game, you are presented with a list of practice programs, each with a time it'll take to complete and a percentage probability of it succeeding. Once selected, time speeds up and in a matter of moments you'll know whether you're laughing all the way to the imaginary resource points bank or shouting more expletives than Yuki Tsunoda in a qualifying session. For example, I was quoted 6 minutes and 40 seconds to complete the ERS energy test with a 100% chance of it succeeding. But next on the list was an engine power related development boost and a 50% chance of success. Or I could select another ERS program for 100 extra resource points but with only a 25% chance of success. It's risk versus reward and very simple in its execution. If any task fails, you simply waste time and gain nothing. I can imagine this relieving the burden of driving practice challenges, handy for those who just like to race through to the driver transfers without a heavy penalisation on a car's development. Gone is the R&D tree, which has changed in layout but was effectively identical across the past few games. In its place is a fresh R&D menu, which at first looks like a revolution, but under the skin works exactly the same way. There are still 4 main car development areas, that of aerodynamics, chassis, powertrain and durability, but instead of being on some kind of alternative line graph, each department has its own menu area. Within each part, upgrades are now depicted with snazzy wireframe drawings, a simple touch that brings more life to car development as you can see what each part looks like and therefore picture it on the vehicle. The title of each part is also much more detailed. It's not just the design and layout that's been revised though, the process of spending your hard-earned points has also been mildly tinkered with. When you decide on what part to develop next, you are now presented with 2 timing options. For example, for one part I had a standard development option which would be ready for the 21st of March and had a 20% chance of failure. Alternatively, I could rush the creation to be ready for the 15th of March, but with a heightened 45% chance of failure. Much like previous F1 titles, if a part fails, you have to pay some additional points and wait longer for it to be completed. So in a similar way to the quick practice minigame, you now have to balance haste with reliability. Finally, department morale also affects quality and timing, which changes based on your post-race interview answers, and in the pre-release build, development boosts reduce the price of parts by 5%. Now, there isn't a revolution here, but a series of not insignificant changes that all add up to create a reinvigorated experience. Clearly, the team at Codemasters Birmingham have been listening to fan feedback, and especially for those who've played through multiple F1 games in a row, this should put a pep in your step. So, what did you think of these new additions to F1 2021? Let me know in the comment section below, and are you excited for the game? If you want to see more stuff like this and lots of F1 2021 coverage later this year, then please do subscribe to the Traxion channel, ring the bell to get notifications. Thank you very much for watching, keep it pinned, I'll see you next time.